guys, welcome back to Shutterbug Club. I'm your host, Sue, and I'm chatting with an insanely talented guest today. We have Megan Grindel. Hey, Megan.
Hello, everyone. I'm so excited to be here.
I am so excited to have you here. Megan is a portrait photographer whose work literally feels like a movie scene. Her photos are so nostalgic and they somehow make you feel like you're standing right there in the moment with her subject. She is a master of posing, composition, and editing in a way that brings out the emotion and brings the story to life in every single photo.
Thank you. That's so nice.
Yeah, so I'm so excited to talk with Megan today about her process. Megan and I actually met back in 2021 at the first ever Color Pop hosted by Marina Williams, which is crazy. It's crazy to think how much we've grown since then.
Oh my gosh, yeah. We were babies.
Yeah, I felt like we were just little baby photographers back then.
Yeah, for sure.
So cool. So Megan, why don't you start by just telling everyone a little bit about you, where you're from, and how long you've been doing photography?
Okay. So I'm originally from Washington State, but I actually live in Utah right now, around Salt Lake. I moved here in 2020 after high school to go to college. Ended up just staying here. I didn't even finish college. I just pursued photography.
Love that.
But I kind of just grew up doing photography as well. My parents both love it, so I always had a camera. They got me one when I was really little, and then just kept growing with it and realized I loved portraits. I didn't even start doing portraits until I was 16. I think I was a junior. Because I was I didn't realize it was a thing, really. I don't know. But I started doing them, started doing people's senior pictures, and it kind of just kept growing from there. And then, yeah, obviously I moved out here after I graduated and then kept at it. And, yeah, I do a little bit of everything. I do couples and seniors, weddings, and sometimes I do concerts, which are really fun.
That's so cool.
But,
Do you have a favorite out of all of those that you like to do the most?
I think couples would be number one. Obviously, concerts are really fun. They're just more rare, I guess. I do couples the most, so.
Yeah.
And they're just so fun.
Yeah, you're so good at all of them. I'm you don't have to pick. You can just do all of them.
Well, that's why when people ask, oh, do I have to have a niche? I'm like, no, you don't, unless you want to.
Yeah, that's so true. Who is your favorite person, concert that you've ever photographed, artist?
Ooh, that I photographed? Do you know Role Model?
No. Oh, I'm so bad with names.
That's okay. Okay, well, I did him. That was my first concert, actually, and that was really fun.
Oh, that's so
Lizzie
cool.
McAlpine, if you know who she is.
Sounds familiar, but
Yeah.
would I know one of her songs? What's
You
the most
probably do.
popular?
Have you Ceilings?
Okay, yeah, I'm pretty
It's
sure.
more sad
Yeah,
music.
I kind of like sad music.
You'd probably also recognize Role Model songs if you heard
I
them.
think so. I
Yeah.
think you and I have very similar taste in music.
Mhm.
So I'm always like, what is Megan listening to? Yeah, I love that. How would you describe your style?
I would say that I try and keep it genuine and authentic, but still very fun and colorful. I do say that I cater to untraditional clients. I don't a just sit and smile picture. They have their time and place, but I try and make everything a little bit unique and personal to each client.
Yeah, I definitely can see that in your work. How would you say you feel when you look at your photos, or how do you want others to feel?
Okay, that's interesting because a lot of times other people are telling me how they feel, and I'm like, oh, I totally got something different out of that.
Wow.
So I guess it just depends on your perspective, but I ultimately try and make my photos feel, like I said, genuine, and I want the emotion of the moment to show in that photo. I like the idea of nostalgia. I feel like that's a very popular word right now, but documentary photography, storytelling, that kind of stuff. Just something that tells a story and gets the emotion across and makes you feel something, whatever that person gets out of that photo. I just think it's really cool when somebody is feeling anything rather than just oh, scrolling, that's really cute. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. Instead of just being a cute photo, it has a deeper meaning behind it.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I love that. Okay, I really want to know your why of why you kind of got into
Ooh.
photography and what pushes you to keep going.
Well, originally, I just really liked being creative, like I still do. Just like having that outlet to create something. But then once I started getting into portraits, like I kept that, but then also involving people adds more meaning, I think. Like, I always have clients tell me, like, oh, I felt so pretty in that photo, or thank you for, like, I don't know, capturing that memory or something. And those always mean a lot to me because I understand what it's like to not feel confident, and like that is such a special thing to see a photo of yourself and be like, wait, I actually look gorgeous. Like, of course, but especially with my seniors I work with, high school is tough.
Yeah.
I didn't really like it. Like, there were good parts and bad parts, but I just know how brutal it is. So, like, being able to help those seniors like feel more confident. I'm sure you feel like this too with your seniors, but like when they feel cute or they're just excited over a picture, I'm like, "Ugh," that's like, I don't know, it just makes me feel good. So I guess
It's
just
so
like
fun.
capturing that for people, it sounds cheesy, but like capturing the memory.
No, I love it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just making people feel, just like you
Yeah.
said.
I think another important thing is photos last forever. And I know a lot of times when people, this is more like sad, but like when people lose family members or friends, like they wish they had more photos of them with them. It's just one of the only ways you can remember really a person in a moment. So being able to have that, I think, is so crucial.
Yeah, that's so true. So we're going to do a quick rapid fire round. I'm going to ask you a few questions and you're just going to answer them as quick as you can.
Okay, perfect. I'm ready.
Okay. What is your go-to lens?
I never take off my 24 to 70.
Well, okay, I know we were going to rapid fire, but I'm actually really curious because so many photographers are so on like prime lenses. I actually never hear anyone using a zoom lens.
It's interesting. Yeah, I feel like so many portrait photographers stick to like a 35, 50, 85, whatever. I just love being able to zoom, have that versatility. I will occasionally use a 50 just because it's like my 50 is like 1.2, so if I really want to go down that far, I can, but I don't know, 24 to 70, I love the wide, and then being able to zoom in, and for all, like, I provide a lot of variety in my
Yeah.
gallery, so it's just the most, it makes the most sense, I guess, for my style.
Yeah, and you capture a lot of movement, so it's probably
Yes.
easier without you having to like switch back and forth all the time.
Right. Yeah, with a 50, I'm like, okay, let me back up.
Yeah, I love that. Okay. What is the most iconic photo you've ever taken?
Ooh, I feel like this might differ if you like ask somebody else, but for me, um, do you know my snow couples photo
Yes.
shoot reel
Yes.
thing? Yeah, maybe those ones just because they did, like that's the most engagement I've ever got on a shoot.
Yeah, those were
Yeah,
so cool. I love
thank you.
those.
They were so fun.
Yeah, so good. If your style was a song or a movie, what would it be?
Oh, I want to say it would be Kiss Me by Sixpence None the Richer. You know that
Okay.
song? You would definitely
No.
you would
Yeah,
definitely recognize it.
I'll have to
It's
hear it.
like very much a rom-com
Okay.
type vibe. Um, so very romantic and like fun. But
Okay, I'm gonna go listen to
movie,
it.
yeah. Movie, I don't know. Like I want to say The Notebook, but I feel like that's being optimistic. I just love that movie.
Wait, I love that. That is so cute. I could definitely see that, especially with your couples.
Yeah, couples for sure. I don't know about
Yeah.
seniors, but
Yeah, that's a little harder, but I love
yeah,
that. Okay, natural light or flash?
natural. But I do love Flash.
Okay. Studio or outdoors?
I think overall outdoors, but I do love studio.
You're so good at both. Yeah,
Thank you.
that's so cool. Okay, one editing tool you can't live without?
Masks.
Yes, okay. And then favorite time of day to shoot?
Ooh. I feel like sunset is like a given, but I do love morning light too.
Okay. So, do you love it more when the sun is out and it's kind of golden, or do you love it when it goes down more and it's more moody?
I love blue hour, like after the sun sets. I feel like that's when it's more like romantic, cinematic.
Yeah, blue
That vibe.
hour is my favorite.
But I do really love direct sun. I feel like a lot of
Yeah.
people are scared of it, but it's so fun.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, if you've never shot in direct sun, you should definitely try it out.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay, perfect. Now I want to go into kind of posing and directing. So, when you're planning your photo shoots, do you plan out like a storyboard or do you kind of just let it unfold in the moment?
I feel like it depends on the shoot, a little bit of both. If it's like a client shoot, I kind of just let things go naturally because I don't really know like I've never met this person before, so I don't know how it'll go.
Mm-hmm.
So that one's a little more just like go with the flow. Like I have obviously ideas of poses and stuff, but nothing super specific, especially because sometimes they come with their own ideas too.
Yeah.
Or like they'll send me their Pinterest board or something, and then I'll kind of go off of that. But for creative shoots, styled shoots, that's when I'll create more of a storyboard, mood board, and refer back to it during the shoot, just like for creative ideas or
Mm-hmm.
inspiration. But yeah, I think it kind of just depends on what it's for.
Okay, so when you're planning your shoots, do you have kind of like a shot list? Because you get so much variety, so I'm wondering, do you plan to get like a wide angle, close up, details, and then like creative shots? How do you kind of plan out each dice like type of shot you want to get and the diversity?
I feel like at this point, it's like very natural for me to want to get all those things. I'm like, oh, this would be a good wide shot. Let me get a detail shot. But definitely in the beginning, like I remember when I first started photography, I still have it, a list in my notes of like different shots for like couples and seniors and like different poses and stuff. So when I first was starting, I would definitely refer back to that more and use Pinterest a lot more than I do now. But I feel like now because I shoot so often that it's more natural, I think, to just be like, I don't know, just like see it and be like, oh, that would be good wide.
Mm-hmm. But do you always try and get at least some of all of those?
Oh yeah, for sure. I always get a wide one. I always get a close-up one. I always get one of like movement. I try and get a lot of details. They're just so cute. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Yeah, I feel like that's one of the biggest part that goes into your photos feeling so much like storytelling is getting all those different angles instead of like
Yes.
most of them just close-up portraits.
Yeah, because like if you think about it, like if you're watching a movie and you're feeling like the storyline, like this movie isn't just one angle, one perspective. It's like this person's perspective and this person's, and then it's the details here, and it's a wide shot here. Like I don't know, I kind of just think about it like that, like what all goes into this person's story, parts of their outfit and then the location that we're at and their personality.
Yeah, that's so good. Okay, can you walk through your posing a little bit when you get to a photo shoot? Do you tend to start with more simple poses and then go into the artistic ones?
Yes, I feel like right off the bat, I can't be like, okay, do a cartwheel because they're like, who is this girl? If I've never met them before. And a
Yeah.
lot of times, this is the most common thing that people say when I meet them is like, oh, I'm really awkward. I'm gonna need your help posing. I'm like, girl, like,
Yeah.
I'll help you. Not like they're not actually awkward. I feel like they just don't know what to do.
Mhm.
And so I'll definitely start a little more chill and calm just so that they can get a little less scared,
Yeah.
basically. But yeah, usually I start with just like, if it's a senior, like a standing one, hands in pockets or like arms crossed or just something very simple.
Mhm.
And then I'll ask them, okay, move around, run around, or like sit. Same thing with couples. Like I kind of just start very simple from the beginning, have a good foundation, and then add on to it. A lot of times too, the photos at the beginning of the session I don't love,
Mhm.
but it's just like kind of a little intro to the poses I will love.
Yeah.
But I think definitely by the end of a session people are like, okay, I get this now. I can do this. Like I can do a little more complicated of poses.
Yeah. Okay, is there any like thing about your poses that you can share with us, like any prompts or just really how do you make them look so effortless?
I will say the biggest thing is movement. I think like still photos are really good and like crucial for a gallery. The ones that people like are always commenting on or like connecting with are the ones where I'm having them like move a ton. Let's see, like for portraits, I'll do like running, walking, a lot of spinning. I'll either stay in one spot while they're doing all this or I'm following them. So like that kind of changes the perspective. And then for couples, like same thing, like spinning, holding hands and like spinning in a circle, running, like having one of them pick the other up and like spin.
Okay,
Yeah.
for your running
So,
shots, is there anything you say to them specifically? Because like it's hard to get a cute photo of someone running.
I
How do you
know.
do that?
Um, I honestly, we have to do it a couple times. Like, I'm not gonna post the awkward ones, but there are a lot in between, a lot of
Yeah.
bloopers. I say like, kind of just have fun with it. Don't overthink it. Just like follow each other around. Grab their hand, let go of their hand, like run and give them a hug. Try and be as natural as possible. And like, if you feel like you want to like give them a kiss or something, do that. Like, just be like natural. Pretend I'm not there, which is hard, but another thing with this is if I'm feeling awkward, they're gonna feel awkward. So I have to be like, you just have to be very outgoing and fun and like make them feel comfortable before you can jump into it. Like, okay, play tag, that kind
Yeah.
of thing.
So what kind of things do you do for yourself, if that makes sense, to help you
Yeah,
warm
like
up, I guess?
help me warm up. Music. Like at the beginning of the shoot, I'll just like talk to them and try and actually get to know them first and like introduce myself. And then
Hmm.
also, I think the way that you present yourself on social media will help somebody feel a little more comfortable. And so, like, yeah, just like the way you present yourself, make sure you're being personable on there so that they're not
Hmm.
showing up and they're like, hey, this is different than when I was talking to you.
That's so true.
Um, Another thing, oh, a questionnaire. That's what I was gonna say. Like, if you are wanting to get more details before you head into the shoot for like seniors or something, send a questionnaire and sometimes even like ask like what kind of music do you listen to, and then you can play that during the shoot and they feel more comfortable. And then you also know them a little bit more and like have some common ground. And then one more thing, sorry. On my inquiry form, I'll like have them tell me a little bit about them so then I know like hobbies and stuff like that, which one is really cute to incorporate into photos. And then also like it just, again, I have like something to go off of, some conversation starters, so it's not like, oh, hey.
So true. I love that.
Yeah.
How do you approach posing for different personality types, like someone shy versus someone very
Mm-hmm.
outgoing?
Kind of the same thing, like just kind of gauging their personality from the beginning. I feel like it's really important for, if you want these photos to feel like this person, you have to lean into their personality. So if I have somebody who's really shy, I'm not gonna ask them to jump in the water and like do something crazy because they're gonna be like they're not gonna feel comfortable doing that.
Hmm.
So maybe I have them do a more simple pose and they're like sitting and hugging their knees and like some, I
The
love
knee
that pose.
hug
But
pose.
yeah,
Your knee hug pose is so good.
but that's just like a good one for people who like are a little more reserved, and it's just like a
Hmm.
sweet little pose that it's like it still shows their personality, but it's not like super complicated. So I totally think it's okay if somebody is shy. Like there's nothing wrong with, I'm shy. So I get
Hmm.
it. Just kind of lean into that and make sure these photos feel like that person. You can still do like some fun poses, like, but it doesn't have to be as crazy as if like you get this super bubbly, outgoing person. Like it's not the same person and it's not going to be the same session.
Yeah, that's so good. Okay. Um, do you have like a favorite prompt that you like to use? Something that's maybe a little more adventurous to get that movement? I know you said a lot of movement ones.
I love a spinning one, especially if they're wearing a dress. That's cute.
That's good.
Um, I like to try and incorporate the environment that we're in a lot. So if there's like flowers, I'll have them put like a flower in their hair or something, or like walk around, like touch the flowers, smell the flowers, like just incorporating that. And then like if there's water, having them walk on the water. Just paying attention to like the environment that we're actually in and incorporating that. Um, I feel like that's a
That's
really
a
good
really good
one.
tip. Yeah, to
Yeah.
just interact with your environment. I think that's a big thing
Yes.
too, I noticed in your photos.
People feel like more natural and more at ease too.
Mhm. Yeah, that's so true. So I have your Instagram pulled up right now. I'm like looking at it because I want to talk like a little bit more into your poses. Okay, so like
Okay.
I have this one pulled up.
Okay, the one at the beach.
Yes. I don't even know what to ask honestly, but just like it's almost like the little tiny things in the pose. All of your poses look like this, and it's like the little bend of the arm, like the way their legs are bent, the way
Mhm.
like the slightest tilt of their head. It's almost like every single joint of your subject is perfectly placed. I'm curious, do you tell them like, "Oh, move just a little bit," or do they kind of get into that naturally?
A little bit of both. So for that senior, she had told me she like was a little more shy and like nervous. Even when we like that photo you just showed me where
Mhm.
she's sitting on the wood, that was like the very, very beginning of the session. And so she was like really like feeling a little reserved, and I was like, okay, I'll tell you exactly what to do. Like, don't even worry, because a lot of times people are okay. So now what do I do with my hands and like my face and my legs? Like, they just need more direction than you think sometimes. So for that one,
Mhm.
like she's stunning. She didn't really need a ton of like I just needed to tell her basically where to put her hands. Like that was the biggest
Mhm.
thing. That one was the beginning of the session. She was feeling reserved, so I'm like, okay, let's start with the sitting one, like not too crazy. So I had her sit, and then I just love when they like hug their knee, bring their knee up a little bit, and so
Mhm.
that gives them something to do with their legs and their arms. So then I was just like, okay, tilt your head just a little bit, and it was perfect. And
Mhm.
then I kind of just build off of that. I take that pose, and I'm like, okay, now move your hands, and like we get a little bit of a different pose, and then yeah, basically just using that as a foundation. But just paying attention to how people feel, telling them you might have to tell them exactly how to do everything, and that's fine.
Mhm.
And then literally after like 2 minutes, she was like, "Wait, I know what to do," and she's like spinning around, and like it was perfect.
Oh, okay. Yeah, she kind of got the vibe. And then,
Yes,
do you feel like that happens a lot? Is they kind
yeah,
of
for
pick
sure.
up on what you're saying and then get into it?
Uh-huh. Yeah,
Yeah.
especially if they've already seen my work, they're like, "Okay, know what I'm getting into," but like it can be a little intimidating if you've never gotten your photos done because I mean, like I'm this way when I'm in front of the camera. I suddenly forget every pose ever.
Yeah.
So just I guess also just imagining like how they feel in that moment. Like they just need a little more instruction at first, and then yes, often after a few minutes, they'll be like, okay, this is I get this. This is fun.
So, do you give them any kind of facial, like emotional guidance? Do you tell them?
Um, a lot of the time is they'll be like, do I look at you? Do I smile? And so I'll be like, okay, first look at me and smile, and then look to the side, maybe do like a soft smile. Um, But a lot of the more movement ones, I'm just like, okay, do whatever. It feels natural. Like you can smile, you can look at me, you can look around.
Mhm.
Um, but like for still ones, I'll tell them, unless I get somebody who's like very experienced and I don't have to tell them what to do, which is rare. But sometimes I'm like, okay, you got this. Like
Yeah.
I'm
Okay.
just here. I'm here clicking the button.
Okay, that's interesting because your photos show so much emotion. So
Hmm.
your photo shoots must just be so fun. Like you're just capturing that, which I love.
I just feel like it goes back to like how you're making the client feel. And I'm not saying like I'm funny or like super outgoing, but like if I say something funny, I'll be like, oh, let me get that little smile right there.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, just making sure that they feel comfortable and like I'm being genuine. Also, I am an overshooter, so I'm like getting everything, and then
Mhm.
I'm picking those moments that feel most real.
Do you also shoot on film?
Like for fun, yes, but I've only posted it like twice or something like that.
Okay, your photos look so like film aesthetic. It looks
I
like you were shooting
love,
on film.
thank you. I love film, so I'd like to edit like that a little bit or
Mhm.
like just take inspiration from that. I have a film camera and I definitely need to use it more and like bring it to my shoots, but I genuinely just forget.
Yeah. Okay, I want to go into a little bit more of like the creative vision and
Okay.
composition of posing a photo. So beyond just like what the subject is doing,
Yeah.
but I'm really curious what you do with your background when you're setting up a shot. What kind of things do you look for?
This is a very good question because I think a lot of times people focus most on posing, which does make a huge deal in a photo, a huge difference. But the way that you shoot and set up the shot is like part two. It's so crucial. Like I can have somebody pose and stand in one spot and I can get a million different photos just by me moving around. So I guess one of the biggest things is like, yeah, composition, rule of thirds, like is the subject in the middle or to the side, or am I like my perspective, am I squatting and like doing a low shot? Is it from above? Are they like sitting on the ground? There's so many things that you can provide variety with. Is it wide? Am I close up? One of my favorite things is to like shoot, like perspective, shoot through something, or like have a little bit like of an object like kind of on the frame, if that makes sense.
Like in the foreground? Is that
Yeah,
what you're talking about?
yeah. Like if you, I mean, people do this all the time, but like I'm sure you've seen somebody shoot through like a bike wheel or something like that. Like incorporating the environment into the photo. So like an object, or using that to your advantage. But like with a couple, this is really fun too, because you have two people that you can use like for different perspectives. Like if I'm shooting over someone's shoulder, that's really fun, or like having them spaced differently.
That's such a popular like movie scene thing, is they shoot over the shoulder to get that perspective. So that makes it look more cinematic.
A good like way to practice this is if you ever have like a styled shoot, a creative shoot or something, just be like, okay, how, like have your subject stay there and be like, how many different shots can I get while I'm just in this one spot? Like how many different angles? I feel like that's also why there's so much variety in my galleries, is because I'm like running around like trying to find different ways to make it unique, I guess.
Do you feel like there was a moment when it kind of clicked for you? Like when you started to see your photos come together more?
Maybe not like consciously, but like now that I'm looking back at it, I'm like, okay, more recently, like in the last year, for sure. Like I'm not saying like my work from a couple years ago was bad, but it definitely was not up to par, I guess. So I guess just like looking back on it now, I was learning every single shoot I did, I feel like was like adding like 1% of knowledge like onto each other. So like maybe there wasn't one shoot where I was like, wow, like that just changed my life. But now looking back at it, like shooting so consistently and trying new things, I think added a ton. So yeah, hope that makes sense.
No, that does. That's really good. What kind of new things do you feel like you tried recently? What are some new like things you've done?
Okay, well, wait, before I answer that, I want to say one thing. During COVID, I was shooting so often by myself, like not with people, just like I was so bored that I was like shooting every day. This is also when like TikTok was becoming more popular, so I was trying to post on TikTok, and I actually had a few videos that did well, so I was like, okay, let me keep doing this. It was more like product shoots and literally just stuff in my backyard. And I've looked at the difference between before COVID and after COVID. My work grew exponentially. So just the fact that I was shooting as often as I was, like literally all day, every day, that's all I did because that's all I could do at my house. So yeah, before I get into trying new things, I just like, you actually just have to practice so much and it'll pay off and you'll see the difference. But trying new things is crucial too, because it's like, if you don't feel like your work is working for you, it's like, okay, what can I be changing and adding? So again, like adding that variety into your gallery, trying new times during the day to shoot. Like I said, I love direct sun, but then also you can shoot in the morning, you can shoot at night, you can literally shoot in the middle of the night if you wanted, or like artificial lighting using flash, studio light, just like it's, I think it's okay to be nervous about these things because you're like, I don't really know how I'm gonna do with this, but also like don't be so scared that you just say no. Like I love shooting in the rain, I love shooting in the direct sun, I love shooting in the snow. Like every single thing has something different to offer. And some of my best photos are when I was like, oh, I don't know how this is gonna go, like I'm kind of nervous. So I guess just being open to trying these things, or maybe trying new niches, because like I started with seniors, but if I never started doing couples, I don't think I would have realized how much I love them, or concerts. Like, also, like, I just did a shoot for, like, these fitness instructors who, like, teach, like, fitness classes. I'm like, wait, this is so fun. I had never done it before, but I loved it. So, I don't know. Just, like, saying yes to things that come your way, or if things aren't, like, immediately, like, coming your way, creating those opportunities, going out and being like, okay, maybe I should try a couple shoot. Like, it's scary, but ask one of your friends.
That's so good.
So, hopefully my rant made sense.
Yeah, no, I loved it. What do you look for in terms of lighting when you're setting up your photos? Do you like to do backlit, front lit?
I do all of the above. Yeah, maybe I just like test it out and see which one's working best. Yeah, it really just depends also on the location. If it's a location that offers shade, I'll do some in the shade. I'll do some backlit. I'll do some direct sun. I love all of them, and I think it took practice to feel confident in all of these things, but I definitely think they all have something to offer.
Yeah, we are going to get into editing a little bit later, but I'm curious how that affects your editing when you go to edit. Because I do
Yeah.
that too, but then I'm like, I have to edit every single photo different because they're so different.
It is really nice when, like, maybe it's just cloudy and overcast and all the photos are in the same light and I can, like, speed through. But yeah, when there is more lighting scenarios, you have to switch it up for each different photo. I have presets saved for each kind of, like, scenario, so that's what I use as the base, and then I'll tweak it as needed. But I feel like direct sun especially is a little harder to edit than anything else because it's just so harsh. But you just have to practice, and, like, over time you learn how to change the temperature and all that stuff to make it look natural.
Yeah, I love that. Okay, where do you draw your inspiration from?
A lot of times it's other photographers that I follow. I feel like Instagram is a little bit of a slippery slope though, because it's like, wow, I love this photographer so much, I want to be them. But I feel like you have to just realize that it's okay to have your own style, but then also take inspiration from other people. Anyways, that's a whole different rant, but just taking inspiration from them and, like, maybe, like, their editing style, like, maybe, I don't know, just trying new things, really. But besides that, Pinterest is huge. I love Pinterest. I'm big on not copying photos on Pinterest or from other photographers, just, like, taking it as inspiration and making it your own. Music, movies. I've done a few photo shoots where it's just solely based off of, like, Pride and Prejudice or something like that.
Yeah, I feel like I've seen those. Those are so cool. I love it.
Or just, like, however I'm feeling.
I love that. I want to go a little bit into finding posing on Pinterest because you mentioned that. How do you find a pose you like and then make it your own?
I feel like just taking the basis of the photo, like, if somebody sends me, a lot of times people send me their Pinterest inspiration as well, but, like, if I see this photo on Pinterest and it's, like, somebody, I don't know, like, some funky studio pose, I'll be like, okay, here's the basis, like, sit, bend your legs like this, but then, like, maybe different, like, move their arms differently, or different variations of that pose, so it's not just like, okay, do exactly, I'll show you this, do exactly this. I'll still show them the photo, I think, for reference, but just making it my own, also by changing my perspective, you know, where am I shooting from.
Yeah, that's so good. So it's like you set them up like that, but then you don't just hop over to the next pose. You keep them like that and then get your own, like, tell them to move certain ways to get it more diversified. Yeah, that's great. I love that. Okay. I'm curious, in what ways does music fit into your workflow? Because I know you said you'll play music at a photo shoot to get them to warm up, but do you also listen to it, like, when editing?
It kind of depends. Lately, I've been really stressed. I feel like I just want to sit in silence, which
I remember your
is
story
crazy.
you just posted too. You're, like, too overwhelmed for music.
It's just, like, sometimes, I don't know, sometimes it's just too much. I don't know why, but sometimes I do listen to music while I am editing, but more so just more when I'm driving to a shoot, to get like that vibe going. And then again, like while we're shooting, I'm playing it, especially if it's in a studio where it's like dead silent. It's like this is kind of awkward at first if like for them if there's no music playing. So
Yeah, I love that. Okay, so we're gonna move on and talk about editing, which I'm super excited to hear about your editing. So, with your editing style, how intentional are you with your colors and tones and the mood when you're editing?
very. I feel like I'll add my preset and then I'm like, okay, this is all, I need to change all of this because I don't know, I feel like I'm so picky that it's like the skin tone is off, need to fix that. Like the sky is not blue enough, gotta fix that. Like I just have edited so much now that I can break it down piece by piece and notice what I need to change. It's funny because like sometimes I'll edit in front of my friends and they're like, I have no idea what you're doing. Like that looks exactly the same. I'm like, no, it doesn't. But also sometimes it's hard to like get it just right. Like I'll come back later. I'm like, whoa, what was I thinking?
Yeah.
But yeah, I do definitely pay attention to all those things. I am a little picky about that, even if I feel like my client won't notice, like I will. So
You talked about how masks are like your tool you can't live without. What kind of masks do you like to create when editing?
I love masks because you can edit a little more personal to each image. So like I'll create a mask of the subject if they're not, like sometimes I need them to stand out a little bit more. So I'll like brighten that up a little bit. Or like also if you're working with two people with two different skin tones, masks are really helpful because I'll apply my preset, but one person maybe looks a little too bright, you know? So I can apply a mask on them and make sure that their skin tone is actually natural to how they look in real life. And then also a huge one is sky mask. Like I have one that I made and I saw it in my preset and I think it's so crucial because sometimes you lose the sky or it's just not like blue enough or like you can't even tell, I don't know, the clouds are there. So just applying a mask and like tweaking it very minimally where like I'm bringing down the highlights and then maybe also changing the temperature a little bit. Or if there's a sunset that like it didn't look as good in camera as it did in real life, like changing the tint of that. I don't know, there's so many, you can even make a mask of like just the background too, if the background is like too dark, too bright, too warm. I don't know. There's so many things that you can use masks for, and I think a lot of people don't realize or just like haven't messed with that because it is kind of a newer addition to Lightroom. I mean, I didn't have it when I first started editing, and I'm so glad that I do now.
In Lightroom, do you use I think it's calibration at the very bottom?
Yes.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. Like, are you talking about the lens profile one or the one
No.
under it where it's like...
The under it has the colors. It's like greens, reds, blues.
Oh, okay. Yes, I kind of mess with everything. So I feel like a tip for Lightroom is literally just go through the panel and be like, okay, what does this even do? Do I need it right now? Like, if you can learn Lightroom inside and out, I think that will make you a better editor because there's so many tools.
There are so many. I feel like when I edit, I almost go in a circle. Like, but I will try out everything, and then I end up hating the photo. It's like I look back at it, and the whites are crazy, like either blue or yellow. And then, I don't know, honestly, I've been kind of struggling with my editing lately because I want to change my style, but I don't know how I want to change it.
Yeah,
and so
that's a tough spot.
Yeah, I've been spending so long in Lightroom, like, trying to tweak it, and I just end up always going back to my original, and...
Yeah, it's like, that's the safe spot, because, like, I mean, I don't know, obviously you like the original editing, but if you want to change it and you don't know what to change, it's kind of hard. But yeah, just go through, like, every single, like, do you ever do, like, the color wheels and...
See, everything. I had a phase. I go through phases where I focus on one really big part of Lightroom. Yeah. And I had a phase where I was like primarily editing with the color wheel, and then I was like, okay, I don't like this anymore. So now I've been using the calibration at the bottom.
Yeah. And then there's like tone curves and the HSL slider. Like, there's so many things. And you can do a combination of all of them, but yeah, it's just seriously trial and error.
What do you do when you need to fix your white balance? Like, what is your go-to?
Okay, well, you know how there's like the dropper, the white balance dropper? I feel like that never works.
Yeah.
I hate it every time I do it. So maybe I'm just like not doing it right or something, but white balance, I usually will go to the tone curves and mess with that. Highlights and whites at the very top. Making a mask, sometimes I need to do that. Like if I'm in studio and the white background is just not white anymore, I'm like, okay, let me just mask that. Also, whites are typically, like if you're in the HSL slider, whites are typically like actually blues or yellows. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
So I have to edit those like with blues or yellows a lot, whether I'm like desaturating, changing the hue or like the luminance. And then also shooting correctly in camera helps a lot with your white balance.
Do you adjust your white balance in camera?
Yeah, sometimes if it's not like looking right, like do you shoot in Kelvin?
No.
Okay, that is another thing to mess with too. If you don't know what Kelvin is, for people listening, like it basically will just adjust like how it's your white balance, but it'll adjust like how warm or cool it is, and you can adjust it like by the number, like you pick exactly what number, which is just more customizable, which is nice.
And you do that? Do you typically like it
I feel
warmer
like half and half.
or cooler?
Cooler, I think.
Okay.
Unless it's like, if it's like sunset, I'll make it, I think, a little warmer just to get that color.
Okay. Interesting. Yeah, I've never actually adjusted my white balance
Okay,
in
you should
camera.
mess with it next time.
Okay, interesting. I will. Also, I use a Sony, and I feel like
Okay.
the Sony color profile changes so much from camera to computer. Like,
Really?
my photos never look like how they do in my camera.
Interesting.
I don't know. I don't know if that's just a me problem, but
I shoot Canon, so I can't say for sure for Sony, but Canon I feel like is pretty straight across.
yeah, I should experiment with another camera and see. Okay, I'm
can
curious,
trade.
Megan. Yeah, wait, that would be so fun at PhotoCamp.
Yeah.
Have you gone through a period where you hated your editing style, and how did you get out of it?
Yes, all the time, which is like, it's weird because no one ever really knows that, like when you're not, I'm not going to post on my story and be like, oh, I hate my work, because that doesn't feel right, but there are times when I'm editing, I'm like, this is not working, I don't like this, or especially when I see other people's work and I love their style, I'm like, wow, so I'm rethinking my whole life, I hate everything that I've ever done. But I think it's important to remember in that scenario that it's like, you can like your style and like somebody else's, but not want theirs or need it. One time I bought somebody's presets of somebody who I loved their work and their editing, and I bought them and I'm like, wait, I don't know that this is really me. Like, I don't want to try and be this other person. Like, love that for them, but am I realistically gonna be editing like this? Probably not, because it was so different in a good way, but just different. Anyways, but yes, I have felt very insecure, unconfident about my work, my editing, and I think that's just something, again, you work through in like trial and error, trying new things. If you've noticed recently, my editing style has changed.
Yes,
I feel like it was kind of slowly, but now if you look like now versus like a year ago, it's pretty different, which is why I'm working on new presets.
I know, I've been telling you forever. I really want you to drop them because your editing is so pretty. Like, I
like
love it.
a little nervous to release them though, because they are so
Why?
new.
Oh,
Because it's like, I don't know, just that insecurity thing. But
yeah.
I think it is totally normal to doubt yourself, but you kind of just gotta do a little reality check.
That's really helpful to hear too, because you are somebody I look up to with editing.
Thank you.
Like, I will sometimes look at your photos and like analyze the colors, like trying to decide what kind of colors you have in your shadows and your highlights and stuff.
Yeah.
So that's really helpful to hear that you also struggle with your editing
Oh, it's so
style.
normal.
because yeah, I feel like I'm just like the worst photographer sometimes, so it's really helpful to hear.
No, I think it's so normal and no one really talks about it because you don't want to be like a Debbie Downer or like,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, I feel like it's good to be confident in your work, but then it's also good to be like, okay, do I really love this? Like, is this working right now? Reevaluating. Another thing, if you're not sure about like a specific photo you're editing, a lot of times I'll make a copy of the photo and edit it 2 different ways and then see which one's better. Or um, referring back to the original image, like looking at the before and after, I'll be like, whoa, that's not what I meant to do. Just gives you a new perspective, or even just like walking away, coming back an hour later and looking at it. Because sometimes when I look at my computer for too long, everything just looks weird.
Yeah, yeah, that's so true. Can you give us any tips for editing your greens? Because I feel like that's something
Greens.
you have nailed. Like your
Oh,
greens look
thanks.
so good.
Greens. A lot of it is the hue of the actual color of the green, like on the HSL slider, green and yellow. Like yellow contributes a lot to the greens, which can be confusing because obviously it's yellow, but like like grass is yellow and green, so it'll affect that a ton. So I feel like my greens are like on the yellow slider, they're more towards the green, and on the green, they're a little more towards the yellow. But then also it depends on the lighting. And then also I try and desaturate, otherwise it kind of just looks neon to me. So messing with the desaturation a lot is crucial. And then
The saturation in the HSL
yes,
of the
not
specific
not
colors?
overall, but of the
Okay.
specific yellow and the green. I turn them down
Okay.
so that they're not like too green, because that's not what it really looks like in real life. And then again, like luminance, sometimes I need to make them a little brighter.
Okay, you usually make them brighter.
Yeah,
Okay, what about in the color wheel section? Do you add color to your highlights and shadows?
I do. I feel like typically it's like shadows. I've been messing with a little bit more like blue, which is kind of fun. But honestly, if you just go in there, and also, you know how when you like move it a tiny bit, it changes so much. Just going in and like messing with it and like seeing which one is better. I don't know. It's kind of hard because it's different for everybody and everything else that goes into the photo. But yeah, I do mess with those. And then for highlights, sometimes I feel like it's a little more green than anything else.
Green highlights?
Yeah, which is weird.
Really? Okay, my highlights are usually red, which is interesting.
It's like not like green, but it's like yellowy.
Yeah.
I wish I could pull up my Lightroom and show you, but it's like yellowy green. Sometimes it's a little more toward orange, depending on like if I need to mess with skin tone and stuff.
Do you
And then masks.
Yeah, okay. Do you usually do the color wheel section last? I've heard that it's good to apply that after everything else.
I think okay, here's my process. I'll apply my preset, then I immediately change exposure and temperature to get that perfect, and then I basically just go down. So I guess that's kind of towards the bottom. Like I'll do highlights and shadows, and then I'll go down and mess with like the HSL slider and then the wheels.
Okay. Lightroom probably knows what they're doing. They probably arranged it like that
Yeah,
on
they
purpose.
probably because yeah. Yeah, I'm sure they did. And then messing with tint too. Like obviously if you're going to make the tint more green than pink, it's going to be more green. But then you have to be careful with skin tones because you don't want them to be green as well.
What is your go-to to fix the skin tones? Is it a mask?
Well, skin tones are orange on the HSL slider. So I usually make those a little more, like make them to the red, which is like negative. And then, yeah, if that's not going to work very well, then I'll do a mask or messing with the highlights in the wheel, making that a little more orange than green.
Okay. And then do you desaturate or add saturation to your oranges for your skin tone?
I desaturate. This is dependent on style, but I'm very big on making sure my clients don't look orange. So I desaturate. Sometimes I'll go back and I'm like, ooh, that was a little too desaturated. Like, they were tanner than that. But usually I'll desaturate, yeah.
Okay, one more question, kind of going back into styling. Hold on, let me see how I want to ask this. How involved are you in picking outfits and like selecting the specific colors you're gonna have? Because so much of the overall aesthetic of the photo shoot comes down to like the outfit colors, like do they
It
clash with the
does.
environment? So I'm curious how you curate your colors.
I never really tell a client what color to wear. A lot of times people ask me what colors photograph best, and I'll tell them. But I overall tell my client to wear something that feels like them and feels genuine. Like, I don't want them to show up in like a dress if they never ever wear dresses. Like, it's just not gonna feel genuine. But I will tell them what colors photograph best. A lot of times like for seniors, I feel like I never really have issues with this. Not anymore, maybe more when I started, because I didn't have a portfolio for them to like look at and determine what kind of outfit to go on. But yeah, sometimes they'll have their own Pinterest board. Also, seniors right now are so like stylish. I'm really confused because I was not.
Yeah.
They show up in the best outfits, so I'm not too worried about my seniors. Couples, I feel like is different because now you're like trying to incorporate two people into one photo and making sure they match and then also match the environment. So a lot of times couples will ask me like, oh, what do we wear? And I'll send like inspiration ideas or like and just like outfits other clients have worn on my Instagram or something like that. But I know a lot of people like will ask their seniors to send them like their outfits beforehand. I only do that, I feel like, if my client is feeling very nervous or like wants extra help. But I feel like I've lucked out. My seniors are very stylish, and usually my couples, like, I feel like the girl like knows how to.
Yeah, I think you kind of
dress them.
attract that kind of clients. Like they see your work
I
and they're like,
think
okay, this is our style. We already know what to wear.
I think that that's huge too. Like the style that your shooting style will attract that style of client. And so you have to think like, okay, if these people are showing up in really difficult outfits to work with, like, are you showing on your page like outfits that work really well, or are they just not sure? Do they have nothing to go off of?
That's so
And
good.
if something else, if you want, you can style a shoot and like pick everything, like do just like a fun creative shoot, pick everything about their outfit and post that, and then people will be like, wait, I love that, that's so cute. And then those are the kinds of clients and outfits that you probably will be attracting if you're posting that often.
Yeah, that's so good. Okay, lastly, let's talk about the photo club. Can you tell
Okay.
everyone what that is?
Yes. I'm so excited. Okay, so the Photo Club is an online subscription-based photography community. It's educational, but then also it's just like so you can make friends and network with other photographers and just like people who get it. I started it with my friend Bailey Mary Photography. If you guys follow her, if you don't, you should. She's amazing. But me and her both started it because we wanted to create a place, like a community for photographers to learn, but also get to know each other and become friends, because it can be competitive in the industry, but I feel like it's so much more important to have a good community. Anyways, essentially there's like a bunch of different groups where you can ask questions, and like we have an editing critique group where you can send your latest gallery that you're not quite sure about and people can give you their opinions. And then we also have
Wait, okay, I need to submit into that group.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that was one.
Sue is in the photo club. Yeah, there's a
Yes.
bunch of different stuff like that. And then we send like a mood board every Monday so we can give out some like fun inspiration. And then every month we have a speaker, an educational speaker come as in like on Zoom, because it's all online, talk about something that they're confident in. Our May speaker is Sue.
Yes.
So she will be speaking on May 27th in our group, and I'm so excited for everybody to learn from her. And yeah, we also have an actual course that we're going to be uploading on there soon, so I'm excited about that. Yeah, it's much more involved. But yeah, and there's different like tiers of subscriptions. You can get a little bit or a lot of education, whatever.
That's so cool. That's
Yeah,
such an
I'm so
amazing
excited.
space. Yeah,
It is. It's fun.
it's only just started, but I love it so much
Yeah, we just
already.
started at the beginning of May.
Yeah. So, yes, I will link that in the show notes for anyone who wants to check out that space. And I will be
Yes.
speaking about social media next week.
Yes,
So,
I'm
if you
so
want to hop
excited.
on, join the community. Megan, why don't you tell everyone where they can find you?
Okay, my Instagram is Megan Grindel Photo, but my name is spelled kind of weird. So it's MAEGAN Grindel Photo. And then, yeah, you can follow all my pages. I have linked there because I have the photo club and then also a workshop I host. If you want to know more about that, go to Instagram, and it's the same on TikTok as well.
Is this the Creative Co.
Yes.
workshop?
Yeah. Like that one's in person. Yeah.
Yeah, where like a styled shoot content retreat.
Yeah. So like in Salt Lake City, I host it, and it's 10 different photo shoots and 4 different speakers, and you guys come out and like stay at the Airbnb with me, and we all hang out and shoot and chat and edit and learn. It's so fun.
So fun. Yes, Megan has so many resources for photographers. She also does sell presets.
Yes, I do.
So,
and I need to get the new ones out. I know.
I'm waiting for those. I'm gonna bug you every day.
Okay. Please do.
Thank you so much for coming on the
Yes.
podcast, Megan.